Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. It's the Waiver Wire Show. Every Tuesday, we come at you with waiver wire picks. And I know you listened to us when we told you last week to go pick up Jalen Coker of the Carolina Panthers because all he did was score 17.8 points this week. Elijah Moore had 16.5. Pretty sure somebody said start him. So yeah, we've got the NFL is littered with guys that we told you about, and that's why you're here watching this show. How's it going, Mike?
Man, I'm doing good. We're hitting on all cylinders. We're week 10 headed into, and you know we're scounging the waiver wires, and we're seeing some repeating customers. So we're gonna avoid some of these guys that we've told our viewers already about. But let's get
I'm
into the
never
show.
gonna do that.
Yeah, let's get into the newer guys, the guys that we're kind of like having to scratch the surface on. And there's a couple people that emerged. Do you want to get us started, or shall I, Biggs?
Well, I think I can go.
Okay.
Uh, you said quarterback slash tight end. I noticed that you just have a tight end. I'm going to talk about a tight end and a quarterback.
Perfect.
Tight end I'm going to talk about is Theo Johnson of the New York Giants. Scored a touchdown for me this weekend. Go grab him. Make sure that you can insert him into your streaming tight end repertoire. That's French. And he has that upside. He's getting Daniel Jones looks. He's coming into his own as a tight end in the NFL. We knew that his talent was going to make it so, and it's starting to happen. Go grab him now. And then on the quarterback side, a big why not? A big WTFN. Why the F not? Go grab yourself some Desmond Ritter. If there's anything we know about Desmond Ritter besides the fact that he spent a couple years in Atlanta absolutely sucking eggs, it's that the Raiders, who went and poached him off the Arizona Cardinals practice squad, saw enough of Gardner Minshew again and went ahead and threw Desmond Ritter into the fire in a complete blowout in Cincinnati. Right after the game, the Raiders fired their offensive coordinator, their quarterbacks coach, their offensive line coach, and completely cleaned house on the offensive side. There's a spoiler alert later on, but what say a new offensive coordinator comes in and really, really likes Desmond Ritter? What if Antonio Pierce was so far out on Gardner Minshew and it was Luke Getsy and Tom Telesco's call in the first place because Aiden O'Connell was Pierce's guy, that Antonio Pierce doesn't want to have anything to do with Gardner Minshew on the field again, and Desmond Ritter wins the job this after the bye week. Yeah, grab him now for week 11, and maybe Desmond Ritter might become a thing.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. There's not a whole lot out there. I mean, there's another quarterback we could talk about too in Cooper
Wait
Rush.
a minute. My thought just came full circle. I was going to say, if there's one thing that we know about Desmond Ritter, besides the fact that he was garbage in Atlanta, I totally missed the end part of that. It's that he runs the ball. He's a running quarterback.
Yeah. So there's definitely some upside there in the running game. Yes, absolutely. He'll
forget
put on
all
some
the other stuff I said. He's a running quarterback. Go grab him.
Yeah. I love it. And, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to add a quarterback to the sheet because, Cooper Rush is going to be coming in and having an opportunity potentially to take over for Dak Prescott. Depending on what the Cowboys decide here, there is some rumors that he may be headed to IR. So that could be a devastating blow to fantasy managers here. And, Cooper Rush could fill in. I'm not saying he's going to be a guy you're going to be streaming or anything like that, but he could have some upside on a weak matchup here and there. But the one guy I'm going to talk about in my waiver wire ad here for the quarterback / tight end position, I'm going to talk about Jatavian Sanders, who looking like he's emerging in that offense that really we don't really know who the main target's going to be moving forward. And it looks like Sanders has emerged as one of those guys that is going to put his name in the hat there. Coming off a game where, he had 87 receiving yards on 4 receptions, and he took a full advantage of the absence of veteran tight end Tommy Tremble being away. Sanders' performance is even more impressive considering he has been competing for targets in that offense, but Theo Johnson is now gone, and Sanders stands to benefit from an increased target share, further enhancing his value. In his recent outing against the Saints, he led the team in receiving yards and tied the lead in receptions on the team, signaling his emergence as a legitimate weapon in that offense. While concerns about Tremble's eventual return may linger, Sanders is making a strong case to be a tight end option and the top tight end option in Carolina. His rising target share, especially after Johnson's departure and Thielen's injury history, Sanders is positioned to continue making an impact, and a guy that I'm going to be targeting on my waiver wire and having, an opportunity to stream him here and there when the matchup is the right for the picking.
Yeah, imagine after week 3 telling some Carolina fan that Bryce Young, Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, and Jatavian Sanders were going to bring you out of your one-win tailspin. Pretty cool story. And I'm sensing a theme here. There are a lot of guys on terrible, terrible teams who are available.
Yes, exactly. And they're just coming about because it's nonstop with these teams. They're facing injury bugs, and they're looking at, next year as far as some roster decisions go here too as well. See what they have in the arsenal. They're already talking about that, and we're only headed into week 10 here. So there's quite a few 2-7 teams that are vying for that number 1 overall pick at this stage now, and it's going to be interesting to see how that crumbles down.
You know who I'm rooting for.
I know who you're rooting for. There you
go. Let's go straight to the bottom, baby.
All right, let's get into some wide receivers then, Biggs. Who's your number 1 wide receiver pickup?
Well, my number 1 wide receiver pickup is still Jalen Coker. He's still only rostered in 95% of leagues, but he's not who I'm going to talk about right now. I'm going to talk about Joshua Palmer. Joshua Palmer is a 4th-year wide receiver who has never really done a whole lot. And he's not even the best wide receiver on the Chargers. He also only had 2 receptions against Cleveland, but those 2 receptions were for 63 yards. And the week before that, he had 2 receptions for 72 yards. He added a touchdown. He added, and both of those were on 4 targets. So he's averaging about 4 or 5 targets per week. But over the last 3 weeks, on 5, 4, and 4 targets, he has 8 catches. He has almost 190 yards and 35 fantasy points. If you have a hole in your offense, if you have a hole in your flex spots, Josh Palmer is probably good for a floor of 10 and a spike of 17. That's winning football right there.
Yeah, and if it's a guy that you can get off the waiver wire to come in and plug and play like that, he's definitely flex worthy with some upside there to be a wide receiver 3, and he's got some upside to sneak into a wide receiver 2 range at some weeks. So yeah, good call on that. And
on top of that, he's available in 90% of leagues.
There you have it. So my top waiver wire pickup for the wide receiver position is a guy that caught 5 of 6 targets for 50 yards and a touchdown against the New England Patriots this week. And I'm talking about Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. The consistent scoring streak indicates that Westbrook-Ikhine is becoming a reliable target in an offense that's adjusting to their new dynamics. With Mason Rudolph starting in place of Will Levis, Westbrook-Ikhine has seen an uptick in his involvement in the passing game. While it's true he won't maintain his touchdown pace indefinitely, his recent performance suggests that he is solidifying a more prominent role in that offense. Westbrook-Ikhine's production has increased since the departure of DeAndre Hopkins when he left to Kansas City, and it's created more opportunities for other receivers to step up, and Ikhine has been poised to do that. He's got a matchup this week against the Chargers, which should produce another opportunity for him to put on some fantasy points. While he may not be a top tier wide receiver, his ability to find the end zone and consistent target play makes him meaningful and an opportunity to pick him up on your waiver wire this week. So he's one of my guys that I'm going to be investing in if I can.
Mike, I'm an idiot.
Why?
Jalen Coker had 17.8 the week before last, not this last week.
That's
Still
okay.
Pick him up.
Absolutely. I mean, he's Josh Larkey went on and said that matchup against the Saints, wasn't as promising as a lot of analysts said it was against the slot. If you look at the guys that did well in that slot role against the Saints, it was like CeeDee Lamb and a bunch of top name guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and stuff like that. So those are the guys that exploited that defense, and a guy that we don't really have a scouting report too much on. It's tough to have him in there. So I think that moving forward, he's definitely a guy that you could definitely play on a consistent basis, and he's going to get some opportunity there. May not be as good as 17 points per week, but definitely a guy that is has some upside there in that offense as potentially the leading target.
Definitely.
All right, Biggs, who's your running back target this week?
My running back target should come as no surprise. It's going to be Zamir White.
Yep.
Again, hearkening back to what Antonio Pierce wanted to see out of his silver and black Raiders this year, Zamir White was his guy. It was Tom Telesco, the general manager, that went out and got Alexander Mattison, and Zamir White was supposed to be the RB1 in the building the whole time. Now, Zamir White has dealt with injuries. He was inefficient. He got benched for a fumble, but that's not Zamir White that we know. So he is going to insert himself into this offense. Alexander Mattison is second to last in the league in yards before contact. He's not quick. He doesn't explode. He's benefited from some holes and really terrible game script in which the Raiders have been down and they just have to run the ball just for running's sake. He hasn't been a guy that you want to own, except for vulturing some touchdowns. Well, this last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, in a goal line opportunity, Antonio Pierce did not go to Alexander Mattison at the goal line. He kept going to Zamir White. Zamir White got stuffed on one run and then got the next carry and pushed it into the end zone. It was called back for a penalty. He got another opportunity and finally got in. He's going to be getting his touchdown opportunities going forward, and now is the time to grab him because nobody wants him.
Yeah, and he's on the waiver wire. He's got the opportunity now, and that's what we're looking for at this stage of the game, right, Biggs? Is like coaching changes, new offensive systems. So, there's going to be some guys potentially in the Saints offense too that we might want to be looking at as well. So something that we might want to dig a little bit deeper in this as this week progresses and maybe get some more information for our viewers. But my pickup here for running back is going to be Trey Benson. He came in when James Conner went off on the sidelines, and he was impressive. He showcased his potential. He ran 8 times, 37 yards, but he did score his first NFL touchdown, adding an 18-yard reception. Benson totaled 55 scrimmage yards, proving that his career high. He's proven that he can contribute effectively when given the opportunity. Although he's been primarily a backup with limited opportunities, his recent usage indicates he could see an expanded role moving forward. Prior to week 9, he had only accumulated 62 offensive snaps and rushed only 31 attempts across the first 8 games. However, his growing involvement and the potential for more carries, Benson could provide valuable depth for fantasy rosters. Looking ahead to week 10, the Jets, Benson might not be yet standalone value starter, particularly with Conner likely to return. However, his touchdown and overall performance indicate he is on the rise and should be monitored closely. For those looking to bolster their running back options and secure a potential handcuff, Trey Benson is a smart pickup and could pay off as the season progresses.
True.
Yeah. It's tough right now. There's not a whole lot there in that landscape. A lot of these guys have been picked up, and we're just literally waiting for the next injury to happen. And who knows who that could be, right?
It's rough out here in these fantasy streets.
Yeah, man. Thanks everybody for joining us. Tomorrow we're gonna have our rookie mid report. Kind of, we did an analysis with Captain on the rookies headed into this year, and we did a midway report. Bigz, you want to give a little insight on
mid-season report?
Yeah, it was great. It was a good show. It was about an hour long, so brace yourselves for that. But it was in depth, and we covered all the rookies. It was really good.
There it is.
There it is. What do you got for us? We should probably do the ad for this show. Hey, we haven't done that one yet. So.
Yeah, go for it, eh?
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
Let's go.
When you are a pro member at Fantasy Sports Advice Network, you will get the links directly without having to go to YouTube. And it's just right there on the platform to all of our fantasy forecast shows. We've got our Tuesday waiver wire show. We've got this week our rookie extravaganza, midseason extravaganza. Thursday night points after Thursday. It's a live stream right after the Thursday night football game. Fridays, we've got our starts and sits show. Saturdays, we've got our injury show with our Dr. Marcus, physical therapist. And then Sunday, it's breakfast with Bigz, me in the morning, more starts and sits. We come at you 5 days a week, and you can find that all directly on Fantasy Sports Advice Network.
Man, you said that so eloquently, and it just flowed right off the top of your head. And just, man, you do such a good job of that, Bigz.
Appreciate you, buddy.
I appreciate you, man. And who else we appreciate is all you viewers tuning in every week and every show. So continue to do that, and we hope you win.
We hope you win.
Yeah.